I want to get into the creation of the business, but a couple more things that you talked about on your videos. First, you talked about something that you and Mimi do, which is gratefulness walks.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard of the gratitude journal. I think Tim Ferriss mentioned that when he was here. But what is a gratitude walk? And is it true that you used to do them before you had things to be grateful for, or were you grateful for things you didn't have at the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you just mentioned Tim as well, like mentioned the gratitude thing. I don't know if you also know, I have the 5-minute journal and the whole thing.
Yes, this is another company you have. I want to hear about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. But yeah, Tim uses that, so that's super awesome. I'm really grateful for him to do that. But that's kind of really what inspired the 5-minute journal as well. But before that is, before we had money, and when Mimi and I, after I got fired from the bank and we're just kind of unemployed, or as I call it, business development stage, and you have no money, but you're like, I want to be an entrepreneur. How can I get there? I want to have money. I want to have this lifestyle. I want to live the 4-hour work week.
Right. You had read that, obviously.
Of course. That was like huge inspiration. So then Mimi and I, Tony Robbins was kind of one of the first people that was really inspirational in terms of, you really can change and live a different life by itself, and it's really about your mindset. And he talks about this thing about like the power hour in the morning or something like that, where your first hour in the morning should really be inspiring. And one of those things you should do is you should go out and get active and go for a gratefulness walk. So gratefulness walk, so Mimi and I, my wife, you can do it alone. We used to go out in the mornings and go out and just say things we're grateful for, but also add in things that we didn't have that we're grateful for as well. So we would say, we're really grateful that we have this really successful business, that we travel the world, that we're financially successful, all that stuff, even the car we have, because we wanted a certain car. And
did you ever do anything really crazy, like I'm grateful for my Oscar, or like,
no?
Did you? And are you guys telling this to each other? Like one person goes, the other person goes?
Yeah, kind of like we're just kind of like having a conversation, but we're still talking. It's a little weird, you feel shy sometimes. You're walking, there's people walking by. You quiet down sometimes when there's people walking. But Mimi's my wife. She's kind of ruthless. She doesn't care. She just says it. And it was the funniest thing from that. Like one of the best stories is we used to do it, and Mimi's dad calls like midway through one of these walks, and he calls and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" Oh, Dad, we're just out for a gratefulness walk. He's like, "What? Gratefulness walks?" Like, you guys need to get a job. stop doing these gratefulness walks. They don't work, right? And now looking back, we kind of really say a lot of times, that kind of still, those kind of activities really give us the mindset to still go after the things. I really call them kind of mind anchors. You're just telling your mind to what to focus on, and that's it. And then you still have to take the action. It's not like The Secret and things are going to appear, right? You're just kind of anchoring and putting a new tune into your mind and guidance kind of missile. And then you take the action, and then just when you're taking the actions, you know what you need to focus on.
Why is it, do you think, that gratitude is so important? My mom just saw me recently. She came through to town and she said, there is no happiness without gratitude. And she's like, point blank. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, geez, you might be right. You need to have some gratitude to appreciate anything in your life. But why is it not just a goal? Because, all the Robbins guys are like, set your goals. But there's a difference between gratitude and a goal. Why is it that the gratitude is like the enabler, do you think?
I think... I can only say this from my own personal experience. And a lot of times we don't, as people, we're always like, once again, going back to the initial thing you asked me for, we're always thinking a lot of times, how can we get, right? But we forget to what we actually have. And a lot of times we have a lot. And before we can get, we have to kind of just look at and be grateful for what we have. But also being grateful for things that we don't have yet, but we're going to have in our lives. You're kind of like almost tricking your mind.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think just for happiness overall, that's what, like you said, your mom said, right? It's what happiness is all about. It's like having an understanding. You can be the richest, the healthiest, whatever person in the world, but if you don't see that, and I'm sure you met so many people who are really successful, right? Or, in maybe financially, or they may be really successful in terms of the friends that they have and everything but if they don't see that, if they don't have the gratitude for what they have, then it's empty. Then they don't have it. So that's why it's so important to practice it.
This week on London Real, former MI5 intelligence officer turned whistleblower, Annie Machon.
What we're looking at now is a de facto police state. You know, all the laws are in place, they're just not being applied to most citizens yet. I think it's not a case of having anything to hide, it's having a case that I have a right to privacy and I can't guarantee my government will uphold that right, therefore I need to take the steps to do it.
She talks NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden.
He would die for his country. He wants to try and improve the way his country operates within its own boundaries and protect its citizens. And we seem to forget and think that human rights are a luxury. They're not, they're fundamental, and privacy is one of them.
On Sunday, London Real presents Annie Machon, whistleblower.
So it's a very British mess, is the short answer.